Welcome to History According to Bob, which today happens to be Cooking According to Bob. So I'm going to give you my Thanksgiving, I've called it my recipe. It's really not a recipe, it's more of a procedure, because the bird really does all the work and doesn't require a lot of material here. First of all, when you watch one of the regular cooking shows, they talk about these exotic foods. Well, my exotic food is the cheapest frozen turkey that I can usually find, which allows me to have a bigger bird. So this works on the really cheap ones, and it works on the really good ones. So you can pretty much have your choice. And it's a frozen one, so that requires a few days to thaw out. And then if you cut it open and prepare it, well, you'll probably have to do a little extra thawing and remove things. Now, to move things along and show you what's coming up next, you may, as you can see, we've got an extra cook with us. This is our littlest cat, Claudius. I'm sorry, Claudia. And that's our Christmas clock, which is going off. So our cats will probably make cameo appearances as we go through. It's very well known that cats particularly love turkeys. In this particular part of the country, we have wild turkeys, and of course we also have bobcats, and there are mountain lions that have been found here in the Kansas City area as well. And the mountain lions consider the turkey their favorite dish. And so we're going to fiddle with that. Now, as far as the turkey, I have to clear something up from a historical perspective. Benjamin Franklin wanted the turkey, the wild turkey, to be the national emblem for the United States. And of course he ends up losing to the bald eagle, which he considered to be a predator. And he thought that the wild turkey was a much better hunter. And it is one of the most fearsome birds in the wild that you can find. However, never confuse it with our friend that we normally eat, because this is the stupidest bird on the face of the earth. I had a friend of mine when I was in college, a roommate, who raised them in the summer. They won't even get out of the sun unless you provide them with some shade. So this is not the noble bird that Ben Franklin talked about. Now, I've worked this over a little bit. There's always this mystique of, oh, the turkey, it's got to be specially prepared, okay? Frequently, people will throw this into a vat of hot oil and deep fry it for 30 minutes, and about 15 people a year set their house on fire. Now, some people will stuff it. We don't stuff it with dressing. My wife and children are allergic to gluten, so we make the dressing separate. So by not having it stuffed, it's a little easier. So you have to remove everything. One of the things that I have done is that I also cut the skin off of it. It takes a little extra of the cholesterol out. You can put pepper over it. We usually find that it's properly seasoned as is, quite frankly. And then we can add it at the table. Now, the ingredients that I use on it, I can't believe it's not butter. This is really difficult to find. You can use real butter, you can use margarine, but you basically just spritz this over the bird and then move it around a little bit, give it a little motion, and that's all I add to the bird. Now you say, well, what's the trick to this? Well, the trick is our little friend knows that it's the stupidest animal on earth. So to get it to relax, what you do is you make it think it's an eagle. So you simply get a good grip on it, flip it over, grab it by its wings, and make it fly. And this is, I'm an eagle, and this loosens it up. It thinks it's a really fancy bird, and now it's pretty much ready to cook. I originally did that when my children were really small as a joke, and it now has become tradition in our household that it's not Thanksgiving turkey unless it has flown. So I would be careful doing that, because if it slips out of your hand and lands onto the floor, it could be a little troublesome. Now, how long to cook it? Okay, this comes with, almost all turkeys nowadays come with one of these little baster, little temperature gauges on the side of it. And that's nice, but it's never done enough. I want the turkey to be done all the way through. So I will use one of these very large thermometers and stick it all the way down in the deepest part of the bird. So when it's done, this thing will literally peel off the bone. Now you normally cook this to 180 degrees. I cook it to usually 190 degrees. Again, because I want to use every bit of this turkey, and it comes off the bone pretty quickly. And then historically what we've done at the house is whatever is left after we finished cutting it. We live about 10 minutes from downtown Kansas City, north of the Missouri River. There's woods out behind our house. We've got a nature preserve. I've got animals everywhere. I've had wild turkeys in my backyard, for heaven's sakes. I lived in southern Missouri for 15 years. Never saw one. Here I live in the city. They're in my backyard. So what we do is, after we've stripped the bird, I take the pan and set the bones and whatever is left on our back porch. And the next morning, it's gone. The pan is there. The raccoons do not take the pan, or whoever's taking it, but there are no bones, there are nothing. Now, years ago, we had a little stray cat that came into the neighborhood that we befriended, but it was a wild tom. And so on Thanksgiving, we took the leftovers and set it out on the porch, and I've never seen an animal have bigger eyes. It was like, my goodness, this is Christmas. So we do that all the time. I've had some neighbors who don't like it because, well, you're encouraging the animals to come up. They get in our garbage anyway. This is just as nice. So the next thing is, I cook by temperature, not by time. This is a relatively small bird. I like cooking like 20, 25 pounders, but we're doing 3 Thanksgivings this year. We're filming this on Tuesday, and Tuesday is going to be our family Thanksgiving, because my oldest daughter and her husband will come up, and my youngest daughter and her significant other will be here, and it'll be just our family. Then tomorrow we'll go over to my wife's mother's house, and all of her grandchildren will come in, and as you can see, the cat particularly likes bags, so we may get, unfortunately, a little extra action. And then Thursday, my wife and I are going to, we think we're going to relax, but we're going to the movies and the kids are going elsewhere. So, next step is to put some, in this case, it's tapioca flour. You would normally use regular flour, but family's allergic to that, so we put that in. Shake it up, and then simply slip the bird in. Sometimes this is easier said than done. Bird is in place. Simply tie it shut here. This is a little harder to do with wet hands as well. And then the most important part, other than making it fly, is sticking in the thermometer. So that it's ready to go. Now it goes in the oven for probably 3.5 hours at 350 degrees, and when it's done, we'll show you the results. Okay, 3.5 hours later, the turkey is finished. Remove the thermometer and carefully cut into this. And you can see we have a nice turkey. We will now drain and get the gravy off of it. And I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to come by the website, summahistorica.com or historyaccordingtobob.com. And thank you very much, and happy Thanksgiving.